Good afternoon, my name is Lisandro. California needs a new foundation for economic growth. Today we have an aging system of air routes, streets, highways, rail lines that are all clogged with traffic. Airports are choked with increasing loads, highways are filled to capacity, rail lines do not serve some communities. Californians are also at the mercy of fluctuating gas prices, as we all saw last week, and all this stuff hurts our pocketbooks. All in all, our transportation system is hindering California's economic vitality, especially during this recession. So this is where high-speed rail line across California will revitalize our state's crippled economy by creating new jobs, revitalizing city centers, and facilitating California's productivity. Just to give you some background on what we currently have for commuter system, we have Metrolink, which currently runs at about 55 miles an hour, and sometimes even 40 miles an hour. High-speed rail is defined by the Union of Railways as 125 miles per hour on existing tracks. So those are tracks that we have now just upgraded to high-speed rail, and 155 miles an hour on new tracks. So what we have today is nowhere near high-speed rail. And going back to the economy. First, new jobs. According to the High-Speed Rail Authority, there will be an immediate creation of 160,000 construction jobs. So this is like today. Once the construction starts, it's going to give obviously money for more families and income, and people that need this money, and it's going to make them spend money, which will keep the economy spinning. And also, according to the High-Speed Rail Authority, there is a potential for 450,000 new permanent jobs, which will be created on the backs of high-speed rail over the next 25 years. So how does all this happen? Well, by expanding current markets and connecting to new markets. We all know California is a long state. We have up on the north side of the state, we have San Francisco, and down here we have Southern California, and they're separated by a long gap, which is connected by two freeways. We have the Central Valley, which, according to the U.S. Census, is going to have unprecedented population growth over the next 20 years. So we have this area in Central California that's not going to be used, and we need to connect it to the regions. So this is where high-speed rail can provide a connection for both Southern California to Northern California and connect the Central Valley to these two major economically vital areas. High-speed rail will pass through cities such as Bakersfield, Fresno, Merced, Stockton, and Sacramento. So instead of, if you guys have driven up to San Francisco, it's not going to go on the 5, which is just empty. It's going to pass through cities that currently are in dire need of more economic vitality. So the High-Speed Rail Authority says that the Central Valley will receive about 15 to 40% of high-speed rail funds expenditures through construction and other stuff. And also, according to a professor from UC Merced, he estimates that sales and use taxes will increase by about $333 million per year. So that's $46 million specifically to Central Valley cities, which a lot of people currently have massive budget crises, such as Stockton, which filed for bankruptcy. And here in the LA region, we're going to have about $7.6 billion, an increase in $7.6 billion a year for sales tax by the year 2035. And also, onto the second point, revitalizing city centers. High-speed rail will encourage a shift in the way cities use their land. So currently, sprawl is the major use that we have, but by providing train stations in the middle of the city, there's going to be more development in this pocket around the train stations. And according to a study done on Fresno, the city has a vast amount of underdeveloped land, such as parking lots, partial use of lots, and right-of-ways from the streets that are just too wide, so it's like land that's being wasted. And by providing the train station, they're going to have a lot more people want to move next to the train station because of easier access. And on to the third point, Californians' productivity. High-speed rail will have a positive impact on the productivity of Californians by providing an opportunity for a wide array of transportation options. You're going to have access to long trips, short trips, intermediate trips. It's going to serve businessmen, commuters, leisure, and all this other good stuff. So how much does traffic cost productivity? Well, in the United States, $87.2 billion are wasted in fuel and lost productivity. Just to give you some perspective, that's an increase from $16.7 billion in 1982. So it's almost quadrupled. By allowing high-speed rail to come to California, businesses will not need to be stuck on traffic or be stuck on an airport. They will be able to just hop on a train whenever they feel like it and zip right to the next destination. And overall, a state with increasing mobility and economic issue will get a positive shot in the arm from high-speed rail as it becomes the backbone for new jobs, revitalized city centers, and facilitating California's productivity. Thank you.
All right, the claim is there. It's a little bit buried in the opening section, but the supporting points are clearly laid out, and I thought you did a very good job citing those as you got to each of them in the body of the speech. The proof that you supply is, the vast majority of it comes from the High-Speed Rail Authority, and those are goals and objectives. I'm not sure that the substance of some of those things has been demonstrated. The estimate on the number of jobs, for instance, that are going to be created immediately upon building the high-speed rail. Well, since we've allocated the money and we are supposedly in the process of doing that, does that mean we're going to have 160,000 jobs next year? I'm not sure that that is really what that statistic means. So I think there's got to be a clear explanation of that. You had the definition of what high-speed rail was. I'm not sure how important that was. The argument about growth in the Central Valley is an interesting one, but it needs to be developed a little bit more. And the argument that that growth needs to have transportation available to it to other hubs, and that the current transportation that is available is inadequate. Those 2 points need a lot more development here. You talked about, for instance, the lost productivity right at the end, and it sounds like mostly you're saying that's because you're waiting in traffic or waiting for a plane, and I'm trying to figure out why waiting for a train is any different than waiting for traffic or waiting for a plane. If it's going to be a shorter amount of time, then you need to explain those kinds of things. I'm getting a lot of conclusionary claims here from the Rail Authority, but what I need is a little bit more data and expertise that supports those claims. I think you rushed a little bit during the presentation, but you had a pretty good summary of the argument that you're making. All right, thank you.